Give me a minute. So we'll be looking over the tool called Katalon, and it's not just a development tool; it's total QA life cycle, uh, starting from the. Okay, still there are people joining. So Gunnar, do you have the access to accept these people,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
it's
yeah.
just me?
I will do it. No issues. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Okay. So as I was saying, so in this Katalon we have this development tool and the TestOps, then test clouds, all in same environment. It's total QA practice. We can uh, perform end-to-end solution in the QA side. What we are going to look today. So my focus on this webinar would be mostly on the high level of the Katalon features. Then I'll be demonstrating how we can introduce our best practices, how we should be leading this tool when we are going to use it in projects. So let's get started. So we'll be looking with these few things like objectives, then the Katalon platform. What are the things we have in the components we have in the Katalon platform? In that platform, we have Studio and the runtime engine, then TestOps, test clouds, and then we'll be seeing some demo in between. Then we'll have some question answer sessions on that. So uh, Katalon, as I mentioned, it's an end-to-end tool for QA process. Uh, it has the development where we have simple deployment. The deployment is like it's just okay. So it's a simple deployment. Like we just need to download the Katalon Studio software and just keep it in our machine, and we can start launching the application from there. The Katalon Studio, where we develop the scripts, and rest of the things are in the SaaS model, in TestOps and test clouds, everything. So the deployment process is not tedious, and the setup, as I said again, you just need to install and keep it in the machine, and you don't need to do all the configurations like the traditional Selenium or other framework we need to do. Uh, so minimum recount would be like having Java and then just deploy the Katalon. It will take care of rest of the stuff. Uh, and third thing is like on the test scripts. So on the Katalon, like as you can see in this diagram, we have support for web API, mobile, desktop, all these different applications type, uh, which covers pretty much everything in this. And now, as we are moving towards mostly on the no code, low code format, so people are not trying to be expert on the coding. They just want to go ahead and just do configuration and try to automate things quickly. So that also gives Katalon gives the privilege of allowing you to just configure and just run the scripts by your own with minimal knowledge on the coding part. But at the same time, on most of the tools which we see in the no code low code format, there will be some issue like where it will force you to do no code low code in some places where you feel like as a developer, okay, I can just make this method for my own convenience. But in this Katalon, the beauty of it is like it will allow you to write those packages easily and just integrate with that. So you can go full code, no code, low code, anything. So that's the scripting model we have. It's very flexible. We will be seeing it in the demo part. And unified IDE to test all type of apps. As I mentioned, like it has in the same single tool, we'll be having a web to automate, desktop to automate, mobile to automate, and API to automate as well. And so, as I mentioned, it's a holistic end-to-end process. Like so, right from the planning to then creating the test runs, then managing the test scripts, and then we develop the test scripts. We push it to the SaaS model TestOps. Then we decide that okay, these are the scripts we need to run. So we create a test suite from there, and then we run it. And then after we run it, the results will be automatically uploaded to the TestOps, where the stakeholders and to whom it may concern, they can review the results and decide on that. And from there, we can link the Jira defects as well. So this whole end-to-end process of QA we can manage in this Katalon. And lastly, it's suppose this SaaS on-prem or hybrid, like any model, as this is a combination of everything. So we can create a test scripts and we can just have the command like CI/CD model. We can get the, we just need to extract a command from this Katalon script, and that you can run anywhere in any machine. It gets the GitLab code from there and start executing it. So any question in this? Okay, so I'll move to the next slide. So this is the whole Katalon platform where we have Katalon Studio, which connects to Katalon TestOps, and from the TestOps we have the Katalon Test Cloud. So there are a few environments which Katalon provides by themselves. You can use it if you don't want to get burden on your own on-premise, or you can use your own machines, Dockers or anything, by using this runtime engine. So with this runtime engine, you can connect your own machines to connect to the desktops, and from there you can start executing. So in this platform, we have this 4 components. I would say, like Katalon Studio, TestOps, runtime engine, and this is the part where the Katalon Test Cloud comes up. So one other thing on this Katalon, since the no code low code part comes up, like it gives you an enhanced UI experience where a non-technical user also can launch it, and they can dive deep till some extent to understand what are the steps it's written in inside the test cases. So it's not totally a code like where you don't understand, okay, you need to learn Java to understand this. You can just, it will be a readable format where you can just open and read it, and even you can create a test suite for your own, even though you don't have technical knowledge, and you can create from there, you can prepare, you can trigger the execution. So we'll be taking over these components one by one. Let's go to the second one. So this is in general the Katalon Studio interface, which it's the IDE. So it's to basically built on top of Eclipse, I would say. So it has all the ready-made framework structure, the boilerplate framework, which we always look for any uh, automation we try to do on a software. So where we have this profile test cases and the object repository, test suite, then data files. Checkpoint is something new which they have introduced in this. Otherwise, these keywords and the include section. As I mentioned, in the include section, you can extend your Java library if you are not comfortable with the existing keywords which they have provided. You can enhance it and you can include it into your test cases. So this is pretty much ready-made solution they provide. So you can just launch it and you can write your test cases and you can start running it. And it has all the integration like Git, TestOps, and other things. So I'll be moving to the next slide where we will see the specific features of this Katalon Studio. So the built-in project template, which we discussed just now, like where we have a ready-made template, we have the test cases and all other folders structured properly, and one place for end-to-end testing. You can create the test suite by having so many features, like you can do data-driven, you can do keyword-driven, all these things. Even the BDD integration is also there. If some clients prefer going towards BDD always for more readable format, even that convention is also supported. And so then the object spying, record and playback features, these are pretty common nowadays, and it has enhanced record and playback feature where it gives you so many combination of XPaths. So if one does not work, if it fails, then automatically it will take the rest of the XPaths and it will keep on trying for a certain amount of time. Then the flexible test case design, as I mentioned, you can go in the code way. If you want to code, just do the coding and write the test case, or if you want to just do in a manual way, that is also available. Reusable test artifacts, the uh, data files and all, you can connect and you can execute. And this basic like test listeners, all the features, whichever is required, mandatory, this will be available in this Katalon Studio. So it's just a diagram here. You can see where you, to quick start, you can just record. So while you're recording the step, it will be capturing all the object and move it to the object repository. You can keep it in a page object model, which we usually prefer going uh, for easy maintenance. Then from there, you can have the test scripts from the recorded steps, and the test scripts you can connect to the data files, where if you want to run this test scripts multiple times with different data, you want to drive the execution with data files, you can connect to the data files and you can call the test scripts in the test suite and you can start executing it. So let's go to the Katalon Studio, because then we'll be going to other topics. Let me launch it. So as you can see, this is the Katalon Studio interface, where we have all this structured folder structure already available. And I'll just open a test case, sample test case, which we already. Yeah, anybody has any question? Okay.
No, Saga. Go ahead.
Okay. So as long as I launch this existing test case, you can see this play button is ready, and you can see from here that there are so many options ready-made available. You can just go ahead and execute it. So you have Chrome, Firefox, IE, and all these features like headless also you can run. And for other like Windows script, you can run from the Windows, and for Android, so many things, right? So I'll give you a high level idea of what are the features and all. So this is the test cases, and then here is the object repository. So we tend to keep it in a page object model so that it's more cleaner. And you can see if it's a link, then it detects and it shows an icon of a link and whatnot. And if I just open any of the link, you will see that. So I recorded this for the demo. So recorded the steps where it captured the object by itself, and here is the record button. So you can just record for window web. This is the one for web, Windows. This is the one for mobile. Everything is here. So once I record it, it gives you so many combinations, and you can choose what are the properties you want to prepare this XPath for this feature. If I click on this, it will keep on generating and making your XPath stronger to identify the locator. Or you can add your own also from here. So coming to the data files. So it gives you all these 4 default data file format like data types, which we tend to use in automation framework always: the Excel, CSV, and database connectivity also, if you want to connect to a database and from there you want to read this data. And so data files is just a layer which Katalon adds on top of your data, Excel data or database, so that this layer can be accessible to your test cases or test suite. So right now I'm using the Excel sheet. Just I'll show you what are the data I've collected. Then the keywords. So let me start with the test case, then I'll come back to the keyword. So this is a simple test case, valid login test. As you can see from the name itself, I recorded the steps. So we have taken this sauce lab for example for our demonstration today. So I'm sorry. So I've recorded the steps. So this is called a manual mode, where you don't need to have a coding experience. You can just click web UI. You can choose your action. If it's a click, Now I'm going to double click on the tap on this one, and it will open the object. So on top of which object you're going to perform the click operation. It comes from this object repository. You can choose from here. Pretty simple, right? And if you are well versed with the coding, you don't want to go in this manual mode by clicking in the drop down and choosing things, you can just switch over to script mode. Here you have the whole script, you have the independence to just develop things quickly, right? So as you can see, it's a simple recorder step which I created, like open browser, navigate to URL, then maximize the window, verify the header is present or not. I'll give a 5 seconds of time for that. Then set the text, username, password. Then I'm hitting enter instead of clicking on login button by send keys, and I'm verifying whether it's logged in or not. So the logged in header I'm verifying, and I'm taking the screenshot as well. So these are simple steps. So when I click on this, and it has already ready-made so many actions. So these actions are called keywords in this Katalon. As you can see, it's pretty much loaded with everything which you want. But in case if you need something which you don't have here, and you want to create your own action, but again, you don't want to call it in a method for your user interface experience. So this is where Katalon gives you a place where you can extend these keywords. So you can simply go there and create a package, and there if you create a keyword, it's just a method, but if you tag on this as a keyword, logout keyword, now from the custom keywords, I can have this as well in the keyword section. So I don't need to go to the script mode. Suppose in an environment where developer creates these keywords and give it to a manual tester who doesn't have much experience on the coding side, he can still write this test case by using this manual mode, right? So this is where the keyword comes into the picture. Now, let's say I have this test cases where I have 3 test data, right? Which I'm entering, username, password, and the URL. So we don't usually keep the URL in this test cases. We tend to move it to the profile configuration file, right? So that is where we have the Katalon profiles, where let's say I have 3 environments. So right now I'll create 2 environments, one for QA and one for dev. So right now for QA, in general, the URL would be different, and for dev URL will be different. So I'll be taking this URL and put it into the QA environment. So launch URL, or like app. And I'll keep it here. Suppose in an environment where the dev environment is different, the URL is different. Suppose here I have DSOS, just for an example. Now I have to connect this to this test case, right? So I'll be coming here, and in the input section, see, everything is configurable. Here you have the value type. It's a string. Instead of string, I'll need to choose the global variable. So these variables are called global variable. I'll be choosing global variable, and from here, see, the options is given. So I just need to choose the global variable dot app URL. Now what happens when you're going to execute this test case? Suppose you're going to execute in Q environment, you just need to choose the Q environment. Now it takes all the data from Q environment and execute. If you're running in dev environment, you can mention dev environment and then click on play. Okay. So that's how we keep the configuration values in this profile section. Now there is 2 more test data, username and password. So we might be having 2 scenarios. One scenario where like we have the test data as a username password for validating the login test. Like you have 3-4 different login types, and you want to verify whether all these logins are working or not. So that time it will be used as a data driven, right? So instead of hard coding this in this test case, I'll be creating a data file here. So which I already created. I have this data in the Excel sheet. You can see username, password, and these are valid username, so it doesn't have any validation error message, but this last 2 has validation error message. I kept it here. Now I'm going to use it through data file. So I'll be creating a data file like test data, just for an example. So I'm choosing this login data Excel sheet. So the moment I choose it, reads everything. Now I don't want to keep it in this format because once I push it to the GitLab, Git repository, someone else will be running it and he will be facing issue. So I'll be keeping it as a relative path. Now from here you can choose which sheet also. Now you can see that the moment I select it, it reads everything. So I have the test data here, right? So what I'm going to do, like I want to run this valid login test with 3 different users, right? So so it's all about configuration. So what I'll do right now is like I'll be pushing it to a variable instead of string. So to do that, you can see in the test case section itself, we have the variable also. So these are variable which we declare instead of declaring it in the test case. You can declare it here itself, predefined, and you can load your data before the test case executes, kind of a before test case, after test case, what we use in the test listener or hook. You would be knowing the concept if you have used TestNG or other hook model, right? So here, if I give username and if I give password, so these 2 variables I'll be adding here. So instead of string, I'll be using the variable, right? So as soon as I select the variable, you can see the username password has popped up. So I have choose username for here, and for password I've choose the password variable. So pretty simple. Now I have mapped to this 2 fields for entering values, but I have not loaded the test data. I have not passed the test data into this, right? So to do that, Katalon has this feature of driving this test case or test suite in a data driven, right? So you can either map this in the data binding section in the test case, or you can map this into test suite. I'll show you right now how to drive it in the test case. So in the data binding section you came, now you are going to connect this test data which we created. So once you connect it, you are going to just click on map all. What it will do, it will look for this 2 username in the Excel sheet, and it will find out whether how it maps. It will automatically map. In case if it doesn't map, your username different, like this row number name is different from this one, you can just map it from by yourself by selecting this, right? So but it automatically mapped by clicking on map all. Now you have all these things mapped, but it has 5 row of data. So but you want to run for only first 3, since it's a valid test, it's not an invalid test. So the data iteration also you can set from here 1 to 3 or a specific row, everything. Now my script is ready to execute 3 times, since I have chosen for 3 different rows. So if I click on play button, it will start executing for 3 times. So bear with me guys, my machine is quite slow for last 3-4 days. I'll just show you that how it triggers. Okay. Okay, let it run. So meanwhile, we can just go through some of the stuff. So as you can see, we have configured this in the test case level, but we usually do not do in the test case level because we want to run the bulk of test execution in the test suite level, right? So usually we come here in the test suite, we create a test suite. So okay, the execution has started right now. It's all because of my machine, which is a little slow. You can see the valid test which has started, and it will give you this enhanced feature of like how the log it creates the child, and it will be creating the log in a nice flow. You can have a live view of what's going on. See the D, right now I've chosen dev, but the D source demo is not a proper URL, so it's failing right now. So I need to stop it, and I need to choose the QA, because the QA has the proper URL, right? So once I do it, I click on run once again. You can see how this test data is getting loaded. So when it calls the test case, it first loads the test data from the Excel sheet. Then it starts the execution, and it enters all the value. It validates the one. And I have remind you, I have not created the logout right now. So second test again is started, and this time with a different user. This was the first test. Yeah. Then the third test has started. Yeah, my machine is giving up. Since I have not closed the browser, you can see the last browser is open. So I need to add 2 more steps to that. But now you can have a picture of like how this is configured, and it has executed for 3 different test data. Similarly for test suite also, if you want to go, I'll just show you how we usually do that. Now you open this test suite, create test suite, new test suite, and here you can add the test cases, valid, and you have the similar data configuration play in here as well, right? And this is where we usually do best practices. We drive the data from test suite, not from the test cases. Now this is one part, and so similarly for the different test case, like invalid test case, I have the 3 different datas. So as you can see, I've already configured it, username, password, and the error message as well. So these 3 are variables which I created here, error messages, and I have done the data binding here, right? Yes. Anyone have any question?
Yeah, there's one question from Amar asking that,
Yeah.
can you customize the run options like from second step to fourth step, something like that you can select and run?
No, second step to fourth step we cannot select and run, but what else we can do is like second to fourth step, if it's a common step we want to extract from this test case, I can create a new test case from there. Let's say sample 1. So I'll be taking
Saha.
this. Yes. Yes,
Saha,
Amar?
my question was when you showed that, right? Like a run for the user, in the Excel, right?
Yes,
where
yes.
you specified the hey, run from let's say 2 to 4, like
Yes.
user number from 2 to 4. There, do you have the option? Let's say if I have one Excel file and where I specify additional column, let's say dev and QA, maybe my user configurations are different in the dev environment and QA environment. So I'm asking that, do you have the configuration that, okay, run for the users where this particular column says dev or this particular column says QA?
Right.
Or can you have, hey, run for the row numbers from 2 to 4 and then run from 7 to 8, like a, or hey, run for the users where a particular column has the value, say Y.
Right. Okay.
So like basically, basically the question is, does it allow you to customize
be that
whatever you
flexible.
want to
Yeah.
accomplish?
Right.
Yep.
Right.
Okay.
So you can, as I said, like since it's a full code mode also, you can do your coding also in the listener part to do everything. But in the UI experience, yes, there is a way we can do that. So in the test suite, we have this test suite collection as well. So what we can do in this test suite collection, I'm going to create a test suite collection where I can add this test case one time and I can run it with Chrome or anything, and there I can choose whether it should run in dev. And the same time again I can do the same for QA. This is one where we can choose which environment it needs to run, because again when I choose dev, then the dev URL it will come up and you can do that. That one way you can do, right? And from the Excel also you can do. If you want to keep everything in the Excel and from there Excel you want to drive, that also you can do. So what I was leading to there, like, so here you can choose multiple test data. It's not like one test data you want to choose and from there you have to do. You can choose like from one test data you have the configuration file where you have to choose one or two. That also you can choose. Suppose you have a variable called dev, environment. You don't need to go and map there also, like you can choose from here test data value or anything as such. Directly you can map it here. You don't need to load even. Or if you want to load and drive it from the test suite, you can just simply keep it a string, and again you have to come to the data binding and do. So it gives you all these features in every places. It's up to you what your framework demands or the application demands.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, so I'll complete this test suite collection as we came here. So again, you can see this same test suite, like if you want to run for two different environments, it has deployed, suppose you have an example. So where you can choose this same into two different environments. You just need to clear the profile and you can just trigger it. And if you want to choose different browsers, that also you can do. You just need to click and you leave it, it will run and finish it, right? So all these configurations are there. Now coming to one more special part of Katalon where I liked it most and I have used it in different applications of our clients. So we have a very nice way to call these test cases from one place to another. Like, so we don't need to have redundant test codes. Like if you see here for this valid test case, I have not called the logout section because after I log in, I need to do some operation in some other test case and then I need to call logout, right? So I have this test case here. Now I have to do some other operations after logging in. So I can just call this test case from here, like call test case demo valid login test case. After that, I want to do some operations, suppose like click or validate or whatnot. So I can do here. And here in this test case, it would require the username and password. That configuration also we can do the same way how we did for other applications. So I have a ready example for that. Let me open it so that we can save some time instead of creating it. Yeah, my machine is very slow. Okay, so add products. This is the test case where I had to call the login first. Then I had to add some products to the add to cart to the cart. So here what I have done is like I've called this test case first, sample login valid test, and I pass the username and password here. Then I have created all these test cases. all the steps I've added for adding to the cart. Then I've taken a screenshot. And usually we don't call this taking screenshot in each and every step. We can bind it to our keywords, like where once you call, when you call this, you can have the screenshot as well. So you can enhance these steps as well. Then for logout, definitely we don't want to create one more test case. So what I have done is, like in the keyword section, I have created a logout keyword. Like I just click on the open button and then log out and close the browser. So this is a combination of calling the test case, using their by default actions, and then calling out a custom keyword as well. So everything is there. So this is how you need to wisely use the features of the Katalon to make it more useful, and like should not be in redundant code. That's the important factor where it has given all these features. So, and simply the test listeners, you can see that you can create a test listener. It gives you this feature of generating before test, after test. It's all the by default features which are available. Nothing is missing out. And it gives you a support of Gradle as well, where like, so this is the path where I have the Katalon Studio, and you can see okay, I have not generated it as a Gradle project. I missed that, but it has a support of Gradle as well. From here, you can execute whether you want to download the external dependencies as well, and it will store it to this driver, and from there you can use it. Similarly, as I mentioned, so these are all on the Groovy. So Katalon supports Groovy and Java both. In the test case portion and in the keyword section, it will allow you to write the code in the Groovy, but here is where it gives you freedom to write all the classes in Java. Like you can just create, like suppose you want to create a date action or the date helper. So sorry, this is a package, then date helper. And you can extend your Java class here. And this method you can call either in the test case or in the action, like user actions, wherever you want. So it comes pretty handy. Even in some of the places where I was working with a client where I had to extend this Katalon libraries, it was not enough for my requirements. So what I just had to do, I just copy the library files which they had, few of the classes, and I just enhanced it from here. And I called it from here. So that luxury also it provides. And as I said, the BDD model is also there. You can create a feature file from here. And once you create it, you can call into the test case this feature file quite easily, like Cucumber keywords. You can call this run feature file or anything else you want, right? In the object repository section. So as I showed you in the web part, but in the coolest part in the web services, which I like the most, is like it gives you an enriched feature like Postman as well. Like you have everything here. You can put the URL and you can try out the responses directly there itself. From there, you can use it however you want. You can add the validations here. So if your each request has a different validation, you can add the validations here. I would recommend to do that. But if your validations are common, but your URLs are different, then instead of creating multiple objects in the request and putting these URLs here, you can keep it in a data file. From there, you can just read it. How you can read it? Like you can just call it like this and dynamically, and this test data you can pass it from the test case or from the data type. So you can call this new object multiple times based on new data. So you don't need to feed the actual API URL here. You can drive it from other places as well. So yeah, any question, guys? So I was trying to cover up a bit since we are running short of time.
No, sir.
If
I'm good.
okay, so if you don't have any question, I'll move to the next slides where we have the test. So runtime engine, as I mentioned, like runtime engine is where you can create these test scripts and you can run in any machine. And I'll show you just quickly that where we can generate this. So suppose you have this, let me close all these things. It's a bit dirty. So you have this test suite. You want to run it in a different machine. So Katalon has a runtime engine which you just need to place into that machine, and you have you must have the license obviously, and you can create a command from here. You can choose which test suite you want to run. You can choose the test suite and rest up. So you can choose which profile you want to do. All these are configurable modes, so it's not like you need to write any code or anything as such. Which browser you need to run, and you can just generate this command. This command, you just copy it and run it in any machine where you want to execute all this test suite. So it's that simple to configure. That's why like Katalon runtime engine is add-on of Katalon Studio, which allows you to run from the CLI mode. So, and this is where it gives you privilege to run in Docker or any other machine you want to run. So coming to the TestOps. So Katalon TestOps has all these, like from all the test management features, like starting from the creating test run, then choosing the test cases, executing it from there itself instead of launching the Katalon Studio. Suppose you have a developer team who develop all the scripts and give it to you, and now you just need to run it from, you just need to run based on your requirement. Now you don't need to open the Katalon Studio or call someone else out on the technical side. You can just go to the TestOps, which is in a SaaS model, and log into your desktop and just select all those. I'll show you how it was designed. So it has test management, planning, execution. After executed, it will be uploaded to the results. Results will be uploaded to the TestOps. Then you can monitor, and there are some alert feature as well, where it will tell you that whether it's a flaky execution or it was a smooth execution, where it was delaying. All those analysis it does from the data. And it seamlessly integrates with the ecosystem. I would say they are still upgrading it day by day. Right now they have full configuration on the Jira, and they are trying to configure the ALM as well also. And they have different test environments also if you don't want to do the load in your own on-premise. So let's go to the next slide where, so Test Cloud, it's actually integrated with the TestOps. From there only it gives you this whole feature, as you can see in the screenshot. Like you can choose your machine or you can choose their machine. In this Test Cloud, it's really helpful to execute. If you want to run parallelly your execution, you can do all those things from here itself. So let me show you the Test Cloud here. So this is where the Katalon TestOps available. Now this is a dashboard. You can choose which team you're working for, and from this team you can choose which project. Right now in the Katalon demo web 1 project. So I had uploaded few results when I was creating the sample test. You can see it gives you this enough information to analyze and everything. Now you can create this, integrate this Jira integration, and from there you can map it to the requirement as well. Like you have a requirement from where you need to create and execute the test cases, test suites, you can do that. So this is where, like, I would say when a client takes up the Katalon Studio, they should take the TestOps as well, so that it should be an end-to-end feature. They can really take the essence of whole Katalon platform from here, because it gives you a transparency also. That so the moment you execute, it should be uploaded to the results from here, and you don't need to share the results links or anyone to anyone. You can just log in and access it, right? So you can create your own releases here. Suppose for one release is coming where you have the release, and you can map the requirements to the test suites which you are going to execute. So once your release is ready, you're coming to test management. So where it will automatically upload these test cases, whichever I've created from the Katalon Studio. So to do that, you have to do the configurations here, which I already did. The configuration is pretty simple. It's just from the Git repository where you have the Katalon project uploaded. So from there, it takes all the data, and you have the test cases as well here. As you can see, login, logout, add products, invalid login test. And from there you can create the test suite, or you can use the existing test suite which we created already. The sample suite is already there, but if you want to create a new test suite based on your requirement, you have all the test cases named, and you know that okay, these are the tests I need to run for this. So you can just create like release 1.02 suite. So this is a repository I've chosen. Now the test cases. So it just gives you all these values in the drop down. You can click on add. I don't want to run the invalid one. If you want to take add products, I want to run. So these two tests I have included in the test suite. I have created my own test suite. Now I can run it from here. So the test suites are ready. Even the objects are also loaded, which will tell you that, okay, this object is failing in this environment, or that environment it's passing, or this was passed previously, but now it has broken. So you don't need to really go into the report and find out, okay, this is the main culprit in this new release. You can just find it from here itself. And the web services also. Now, once your test suite is ready, now it's time for execution. So the test execution is where you have the whole calendar, you can schedule. So this is where you have the test schedule. So release, or like 1.02 test run. So you can choose whether you want to run the test suite or collection of test suite. So the test suite is chosen now. This is the test release I have created just now. You have all the test suite here from the drop down. You can choose which browser you want to run, which profile, that is also. Then here you can configure, like every weekend you want to run, or every day morning you want to run, or you just need to run for once. You can do that as well. You can schedule from here. And in the test cloud, see, this is where you have the test cloud, which Katalon gives you these different environments, or you can choose your local environments. Once the runtime engine is configured, you can see your local environments also here. So for now, the test cloud environments is there, and you are choosing which runtime engine. So it's always the latest one. Now you can choose whether it's Windows. If it's Windows, then Chrome 103 version or 2 version. That version support also it provides automatically. Now if you click on run, it will be there. Now from here you can run these results. So you have all this runs from here. If you click, it will start executing it, and once it executes, you can have the results here. So it's all in the sequence, like planning, test management, execution, report. So you can see here summary by test results. When did I execute and what? And I'll go to the overview. Okay, so test run. So I'm executing by test run. As you can see right now, it has started executing, even though it will fail, but I just wanted to show that how we should trigger it. Now all these results are there, which environment, which browser, everything's there detailed out. Now you can go inside that and you can see the steps also. Yep. So this is the log. And this is where report, and I'll show you how the report is generated. Let me see if I have any report. Yep. So you can have this report generated in 3 ways, like HTML or the other one, Excel or PDF. Let me see if I have it, the other one. Yeah. So you can see I have executed for invalid one, valid one, and it has nice structure also. You have the test suite here. And if you want to add some description to the test case, you can do that as well in the Katalon so that it's more readable for us, for a person who wants to review this. So when you have this test case, you have the property here, you can add the description, what the test case does for the manual touch. Now you have all this test case where if you want to expand, if you want to see this test case, okay, does it really verify? Yes, it has verified if the header is present. Then the screenshot, everything is integrated here. And you have the time step as well, like how much time it took overall suite to run, like 1 minute 12 seconds. So yeah, I hope I've covered most of it. So we have a little short of time. Do you guys have any question? If not, this is the end of the technical part. And just for a reference from where you can start, like Katalon has this academy where you have the courses left. You can just join there and see their video and start doing from your own. And they have their own forum also where if you post a question, someone will answer it. So they're creating their own ecosystem where they pretty much answer quickly. I've tried it 2-3 times. So you can start definitely from the academy if you have any question on that. It will. These are easily laid out videos and all. So any question, guys? I hope I was not quick.
Awesome. I think that's it pretty much for everyone, I believe.